A new survey from Pricewaterhouse Coopers. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from PwC is Wes Bricker, Vice Chair of U.S. Trust Solutions. Hi, Wes.
Good morning. It's great to be with you, Fred, and your audience. Great today.
Thank you. Well, you're out with your 2024 Trust Survey. Give us more info of what this survey aims to learn and how it was done.
Well, Fred, this is an important survey for business leaders as well as consumers and employees. We surveyed 5,000 people the fourth year that we've done this, and what we see is common alignment around the importance of trust for business. It's important for consumers and employees and business leaders alike. It's important to business and their bottom line. It's also important to delivering on the quality of products, quality of services, productivity of employees, and ultimately generating returns. But we also see some interesting points in this year's data that the gap between business leaders and consumers and employees is also widening.
And one of the findings is 86% of business executives say they trust their employees, but just 60% of employees think that their leaders highly trust them. So there is a pretty big gap there.
Yeah, and that's one of the gaps that we see, that business leaders know the importance of trust with their employees, but also in earning trust, it comes to the day-to-day. What is the culture that we've created? Are we communicating clearly? Are we being responsive to employee needs? And employees are increasingly identifying the importance of privacy of their data and support for training and upskilling in a world where AI and generative AI is impacting many aspects of business, whether it's how we get our work done, to the value that we convey for consumers.
Tell us about the importance of the role of trust here, not just with employees, but obviously with consumers too.
Well, that's the other real opportunity for business leaders. Business leaders and consumers have almost a 60% gap. Nearly 90% of business leaders expect that they're trusted by their consumers and the brand that they convey. And when you ask consumers, do they trust in a particular brand, it's generally about 30%. So there's a gap there that is really a window of opportunity. What consumers are looking for is real clear transparency on what is the bargain. And if something goes wrong in a product or a service, are they heard? Is there a good way of getting that issue resolved? Do they feel as though a business is responsive? And so that's an opportunity for businesses, especially to build trust in this period where they need that trust in order to launch a new product, in order to convey a new product into new markets or new channels. All of that starts with trust with their existing consumers.
Is this widening because of the broad societal issues that we seem to be facing, or what's going on?
Well, there's clearly an impact of differing views among stakeholders. The complexity of the world with different points of view on big issues is clearly part of it. But it's also a factor of the complexity of operating in many cases with supply chains that can be still disrupted, but also the cost of goods and the way that's coming through for a consumer, either in higher prices or maybe it's a different quantity, a different benefit of the bargain, if you will. All of those issues are coming down to then businesses needing to manage that, and they can identify an owner to manage it, or more commonly, being clear across the leadership team that it's a team sport. Everyone really needs to understand the importance of trust and then have a role in managing trust in order to build it. And in the case that there's an event that erodes trust, to recover trust.
Well, we're seeing issues arise in the news every day pertaining to this. Now, AI used by businesses really seems to open up new sets of questions when it comes to trust on all fronts, I suppose.
Well, that's right. We saw in the survey this year, AI, and it has many different applications from generative AI to other forms. That's a clear opportunity for businesses. It changes the consumer experience in many cases for the better, but it also comes with challenges and risks that need to be identified and proactively managed. Consumers and employees alike are really telling us in the survey data that now is the time for business leaders to prove that they're safe, their data is understood and safe, that the applications are understood and explained, so that as we incorporate the benefits of AI, we're also not harming consumers and employees and others. So that's the role for businesses, to really take on that responsibility for leadership around building trust as they bring that in.
Focused on the employees once again, real quick. Has remote work had an impact on this trust issue?
Well, it's important that business leaders and employees build trust. And as we talked about, there's a gap between the trust between business leaders who trust employees more than employees are feeling. What is interesting is that it holds up between whether an employee is working in an office or in a place of business, or is working remotely. Business leaders, 7 out of 10 business leaders would say that location isn't driving whether they trust their employees or not. And that's important because flexibility around work, workplace, and really enabling employees to be at their best and to deliver well, to be productive during their day, to really understand the needs of consumers. All of that's coming together on this issue of trust, and a workplace flexibility is holding up as we move through that question, as we see in the survey.
You know, the one statistic that you highlighted before, that 9 out of 10 business executives think consumers highly trust their companies, but only 30% of consumers actually do. What can companies, executives do about that? And I suppose consumers are looking for real trust, not some kind of whitewash here.
Right. It's not just words, Fred. It's actions. What consumers are looking for, as we see in the survey, is that to really earn the trust of consumers, they need to really understand the benefit of the bargain, and if they have concerns, that those concerns are addressed, that a business understands it, listens, and then resolves it in a way that builds trust. So on tough issues like pricing or quantities, they're looking for real clarity and transparency about what that is. But also on technology issues like data and data privacy, is there more than just words? Is there action that really supports the trust that information, if there's a promise to keep information private, and in fact that is the case, and if there is a breach of some sort, that there's good transparency and remediation of that circumstance. All of those areas are actions, not just words, although of course it takes both.
Terrific work here. Where can people go for more info about this?
Thanks for the question. Today we've released the survey. It's available on PwC.com, where you can read a lot more about this topic of trust, where we are, and how to move forward from here.
Again, it's PwC.com. Wes Bricker, thank you for taking time with us.
Thank you very much, Fred.